Now, when you look at that as the projected economy, is it any wonder that schools don't bother to teach writing or public speaking or higher order abstraction or any of a range of what would seem to be wonderfully useful things to learn or interesting things to learn? Because we don't want to upset the apple cart with our waiters and food counter workers or our truck drivers and cashiers. This is the reality of the economy we have. It's true that if you live in some protected enclaves in the United States, it doesn't seem to be the reality. It's a struggle between deciding to be an engineer or an agency head or a doctor or a lawyer. But that isn't the reality for 95% of the country. I'd like to tell you now about the techniques I devised to try to break out of this trap, myself as well as the kids, how to break out of the trap of these conditioned responses, this dependent thinking. And I had to work out, just for a moment, bear with me and think about my problem. I had 30 kids coming to me 5 times a day, but not the same 30 kids. So now there are 150 lives I impinge on for about 45 minutes a day. And then these kids, for no rational reason other than that the scheduler would go mad, go from science to gym, or from studying history to studying poetry. And if you took the thread of these sequences and just set them down and tried to justify them on any other basis than administrative convenience, it would be impossible to do. The law says they have to be there 6 hours. You can kill 45 minutes of that time with lunch. You can kill another 20 minutes of that time changing classes. Now you've still got about 5 hours. And what are you going to do with it? The way we judge each other in the school business is whether it looks like we're doing something worthwhile with it. That means that the kids are in their seat, or wiggling their hands in the air, or copying notes off a board. Absolutely no one anywhere has any idea whether the quality is transpiring in that time. If you wear a 3-piece blue pinstripe suit and a nice chalet tie, you just automatically assume to be in league with the professoriate or something. Anyway, I had to figure out ways. First, I had to figure out what exact forces, or pretty exact forces, were causing these reams of pathological behavior I was seeing. And that doesn't always mean swinging from the chandelier. It could mean falling asleep, which probably is a sane thing to do. But not falling asleep in such a way that the leader of the class sees you, because that's such a gruesome insult that usually vengeance is called for there. So how was I going to get the kids to develop independent characters and sound characters and independent minds? So I began to work with the mechanical possibilities. One of the first things I did. I hypothesized that the arrangement in long lines and rows, ranks and files, might very well have a bad effect on the energy in the people so ranked and filed. We've all had the experience of sitting around in a circle, and that does seem to release different energies. But I began to experiment with the variety of ways that I could arrange the classroom furniture so as to produce, hopefully, a different kind of psychic resultant, that the kids would be more into things, that they'd be broken away from their mental fantasies of a Big Mac or McDonald's or the porno on the internet, and could join in the collective consideration of an idea there. And I came up with about 12, which I won't bore you with going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you just take 30 little squares of paper and you put it in a confined rectangle, you could get some of the ideas right away, and eventually you'd come up with all the ones I did and more. But those would include simply stacking all the furniture in the back of the room and not allowing its use, so that you had to crawl or lay on the floor or sit on the floor. And so that did, in fact, produce, since I changed the furniture every single day. That was when I was young and strong. I changed it every single day. I found that in a very short time, several weeks, the classes were coming into my room, and they were absolutely expecting. They were more alive and alert than I had ever experienced in my own time. So now what I'm after is some different ways to provoke these responses that are less efforty than moving the furniture every given day. And obviously that's only a small part of the whole.